Hello and welcome. Today I thought I would do something a little bit different and share with you the techniques that I've used to get my wardrobe to the place that it's at today. It's mostly a mixture of Marie Kondo's methodology along with various tips from capsule wardrobe curating that I find work really well together. I also have sort of sprinkled throughout a few tips that I think are particularly useful for if you're hitting a plateau and finding it difficult to decide what to part with next. Now, my first tip you can already kind of check off because it's to read something, watch videos, expose yourself to material on this topic. Obviously, Marie Kondo's books are hugely popular. There's also The Curated Closet by Anushka Rees, which I do recommend. You can watch videos, do capsule wardrobe curating worksheets online. I'll link some down below. The point isn't to expose yourself to everything that's ever been written on the topic, but I do find that being exposed to some content can be really motivating and provide you with methods that you may not already be familiar with. Second, define your goals and revisit them over time. You don't have to write a manifesto, just reflect a little bit about what it is you want to achieve. Maybe you want a 50 or a 30 or a 20 item wardrobe. Maybe you want dressier clothes for work. Now, I think it's really important here that you don't arbitrarily prescribe to somebody else's goals because you'll just stress yourself out chasing after something you don't actually want. My personal goals are to simplify decision making, to be able to see all of the clothing that I own at a glance, and to make better social and environmental decisions when it comes to my wardrobe. Whatever your personal goals are, write them down and revisit them so you stay focused and your goals stay relevant. Now, this one I was kind of on the fence about including because it's something that I personally haven't tried, but I think it's a really cool idea and it's something I'd like to try moving forward. It's from the Curated Closet book in which Anushka Rees recommends that you snap a selfie in a mirror every day before you leave the house for a week or two leading up to clearing out your wardrobe. Now, by doing this, you'll identify not only the items that you wear, but also how you put your outfits together, your outfit formulas, and things like color palette and silhouette. This will also be really good for identifying the types of events you have to go to and how to dress for your lifestyle. Now, maybe I'm a weirdo on this one, but I thought it was worth mentioning. Something I noticed myself being guilty of before too recently was reaching for items that I liked less because I thought that this meant I was somehow preserving items that I liked more. This is clearly a huge waste, so if you decide to take the selfies and have that as part of your research, give yourself license to wear the things that you actually like and feel really good in. You might also notice, which is something I discovered, that the things I was preserving weren't the most flattering on me. So it might have been so long since you've worn those favorite items that they're no longer favorites. Next, just get started. You don't have to read everything. You don't even have to dedicate tons of time. You can start with 1 or 2 or 3 items or 5 minutes. Once you get started, your brain will start working in an entirely different way, and you'll develop not only momentum, but your own techniques for what works with your taste and your lifestyle. Now dump everything into one place and start sorting. Things that you love and that you wear all the time are keepers, and things that you don't love and that you don't wear all the time are donations. Now, there are all sorts of metrics for deciding what to get rid of, but generally toss things that don't fit, that aren't in good condition, and be honest and know that the world will not end if you get rid of the things that you do not wear. Another tip that I find useful for deciding what can go is to ask if you would pay money for this item again right now. You may like aspects of an item, you may even wear it a lot, but if you had to pay money for it right now again, things can get real quick. A similar tip that I heard recently is to ask if an item is your favorite. There's a statistic floating around that we wear 20% of our wardrobe 80% of the time, so chances are you're already reaching for your favorite pieces, you just have a lot of noise cluttering up your space. Another common struggle I think people face is parting with items that you either did like or maybe even currently do like but have served their purpose. Now, something I find useful to ask in these situations is this something that I want to have in my wardrobe in a year or in 2 years or 5 years? Is this something that I'm going to have for the rest of my life? I find that asking these questions make it easier to part with items that have served their purpose. This next tip is something that I haven't used until recently, and it's to let yourself have a trial separation box. Now, I think trial separation box often get confused with boxes where I put things that I really don't want to get rid of, and so I'm going to put them in this box and pretend that it's not a part of my wardrobe. That defeats the purpose of a trial separation box. The point of a trial separation box is to actually try not having these items in your wardrobe. And I do think it's important that a trial separation box be a box so that you don't have these items sitting on your rail or wherever it is that you primarily store your clothes. So put items that you're not sure you can get on without in the box, put it away for a couple of months, and then when you reopen the box, you'll be able to notice that the world didn't end without these items in your wardrobe and get rid of them without hesitation. Now, generally, on the whole, if simplifying your wardrobe is something that stresses you out, go back and look at your goals. Now, I do think basically everybody can benefit from simplifying their wardrobe, hashtag save the planet, but until it's something that you're committed to doing and that you want to do, it's not going to be easy. I swear this is my last tip on sorting, but once you have the items in your discard pile, get those out of your house as quickly as possible, and this will help you focus in on what remains. Now, I realize this isn't applicable to everybody, but something I like to do if I know I'm not going to be able to get to Dress for Success or the thrift store, wherever I'm taking the clothes, is to put them in the trunk of my car. And this allows me to not have those items in my house anymore. I can focus in on what remains, and it's easier for me to make those donations when I have time. Now, after you clear out your wardrobe, give yourself time to really live with your clothes, get to know your style and your goals, and repeat this process. Today, I own probably a tenth, maybe even less of the clothing that I owned a year ago, and that's because I've gone through this process of editing and then living with my clothes afterward 3 or 4 times since then. And by giving yourself time to really live with your clothes, you'll develop a more critical eye. I'm going to say critical eye a lot because it's really important for what you want your aesthetic to be. Now, this tip goes hand in hand with living with your clothes, and it is to strictly limit shopping. Don't let yourself shop for a few weeks or a few months, and really make yourself live with the clothing that you have left. Among other benefits like saving the planet, this will help you to create focus, hone in on your style, and perhaps identify very specific needs that you might want to include in your wardrobe down the road. Finally, repeat this process until you've reached your goals. Now, as I've said, I've found success in repeating this process every couple of months or every season. Once you start this process of editing your wardrobe and really living with what you have afterward, things that made it through the first round will stand out as things that you now can and want to get rid of. And the same will happen the second and the third time because you're constantly developing a more critical eye for what you want your aesthetic to be. All right, those are my top tips for simplifying your wardrobe, and lighting has changed because the sun decided that I need to be wrapping this video up anyway, but if there are things that I didn't mention that you find really useful, leave them in the comments down below. I'd love to hear about them and give them a try myself. But I hope some of the things that I've shared with you today have been useful in achieving whatever your personal goals are, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.